All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rome, and this is the IQOO 15. And I've had this phone for about 3 months now, and I'm ready to talk about it, especially for users that are going to be using it outside of China, and just kind of talk about the shortcomings and things like that, and what's good about it, what I like about it. So, with all that being said, let's get into it. All right, so first things first, as far as design goes, is a completely flat screen, completely flat back. Of course, you have your camera module sticking out some, and they actually make use of it. You have a LED light that lights up around the back of it. And the rails, they're nice. They feel nice to touch. They have a slightly curved edge around all edges of it. So really nice. You have your dual speakers, top and bottom, on opposite sides of the screen, and you nothing on the left side of the screen. And on your bottom, you have your USB C port for charging and transferring files and so on and so forth, and your SIM tray. And I forgot to mention the IR blaster at the top. And other than that, pretty standard layout, but you have your big, beautiful screen. And let's get into this really quickly. I like to go into the about section and talk about the specs. So you have your 7,000 milliamp hour battery. You have 16 gigs of RAM, and you can extend that using storage. I bought the 256 gig storage version of this device, and you have your Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip in here. And other than that, I mean, all those specs are extremely impressive. But what I wanted to get into really quickly was the display. So you have your display size. Let me go to screen resolution. Sorry about that. This one is 3168 by 1440. Of course, you could dial it down to HD to save a little battery. But yeah, I like to crank that bad boy up, and you get your 1440p. And on top of that, you get your refresh rate. So you can get up to 144 hertz on here. So with the 1440p and the 144 hertz, this is a ridiculous device, especially for it to not be a ridiculously priced device. This thing comes in under $1,000. I think I got it for around 800, but it's still packed with features. And they're kind of marketing IQOO right now. I don't know if they've done it in the past, but as far as I'm experiencing with it, they're kind of going down the gaming path. So this is a game device. I know the IQOO 15 Ultra just released, so that one is going to be even more for gaming. It even comes with the paddles on the top for mobile gaming. I use a mobile gaming pad, a phone. It's the backbone right here. I use that for gaming on my device, so I don't really care about the paddles being on the phone. But for those of you that care, I mean, on the IQOO 15 Ultra, it is there. But anyway, I'm going to talk about OriginOS, and I'm going to keep it kind of brief because I cover OriginOS a lot on my channel. But as far as the software goes, you can see I have OriginOS 6 on here. I like OriginOS, but when it comes to, how do I want to say this? When it comes to notifications and apps running in the background, things like that, it is very strict on stuff like that, background processing and things like that. So you have to go in, and I can show you really quickly. I'm just going to keep it going. Let's just pick any app, Android, Amazon, and you see battery usage here. I think you can go to more, or is it background power control? Yeah, background power control. So you can do a smart control and it manages that way, or you could just use it, allow background power usage. You have to go in and manage it app by app to make sure that you're getting notifications on time for certain apps, and things like that. OriginOS is just really strict on that, and I wish that they would lighten up. I think just Chinese phones in general, they're a little more strict on that. Just to help you manage, well, one, to manage battery consumption, but also I think it's part of that is just more to keep people from looking at their phone all the time or always glancing at it. So notifications come through a little bit slower on certain apps, things like that. But outside of that, you do have a decent amount of customization options. You go into Mood Cube, and depending on what kind of wallpaper you have here, there are a few more features that open up on this side. But you could manage your icon style here. You can go into wallpapers and get a little level deeper. And so you can go into customize, and here's where things open up a little bit more. With OriginOS 6, the version that I'm currently on, you can click this little button right here, and it'll add a little more movement to your background. I hope you guys are seeing that on camera pretty well, pretty decently. Adds a little movement to your wallpaper. And let me see if I can pinch and bring him down a little bit and see if we'll get that depth effect. Oh, it's considering the moon as well, which is kind of weird. But okay, whatever. And you can get your depth effect there. You do get your full always on display screen here, but I don't think that it stays on all of the time. And let's touch on that a little bit. Oh, but before I do, real quick, you do get a few customization options here. Really nice. And I think if I drag that clock up a little bit, you can turn on your depth effect. And it kind of works with all of the different clock styles that you have there. So pretty cool, pretty good stuff. But let's come out of there real quick. Discard that. Let's go back to settings. And let's go down to home screen. And no, not lock screen, always on display. And let's see. Using full always on display will increase power consumption. But I really feel like that doesn't stay on all the time. Let's just turn it off. And let's see if it turns all the way off. Actually, yeah, okay, there we go. I was just making sure because sometimes I use a lot of different phones. I just want to make sure I didn't mix it up. So you can bring it back up, and there you go. So it does, for it to be called always on display, it's kind of weird that it doesn't stay on all the time. But I get it, power consumption, blah, blah, blah. But I won't spend too much time on customization options here. Have so many videos on it. You have quite a few here. You can customize your icons, so on and so forth. Good stuff. I just want I just want them to loosen up. I know the global version is a lot better than the Chinese version as far as notifications and getting them on every app. But I just want the Chinese version to loosen up just a little bit so you don't have to manage the device so much. So for users outside of the China market, you don't get you see, if you try to scroll over here to the left, I kind of disabled it because it's just a bunch of Chinese stuff and stuff I can't use. But you know, over here to the left, you would normally have your Google layout where you can see your Google News and just scroll up and down, blah, blah, blah. It's not available on here. Gemini is also not available by default, so you can't say, hey, Google. I was hoping I didn't have another phone on that was listening. But yeah, you can't say, hey, Google. So I always set up my phone to where I can long press at the bottom to activate circle to search. And I hold volume down to activate Gemini and it'll start listening. So I always set that stuff up on my phone and I have videos on that. And I'll try to remember to include those videos, the links to those videos in the description down below in case you're interested on how to set those up. But yeah, I always set those up because I use circular search, you know, and I use Gemini from time to time just to ask questions, you know, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I do set those up. So those are not available on the phone by default. They have their own AI assistant called Blue AI. So that's why I don't really use that. And plus you can't set the default language to English or any other language for that matter. So yeah. I disable it, and I set up Gemini so I can use it using gestures and buttons and shortcuts and stuff like that. It still does not recognize voice commands to activate it, but it does start listening when I activate it with my volume down. All right. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the battery. The battery, with this being a 7,000 milliamp hour battery, I get a day and a half out of this phone, 2 days maybe, depending on how heavily I'm using it for that previous day. But with OriginOS being so strict on background processes, I can understand why I get that that amount of battery life without any major issues, because it's just shutting stuff down in the background if it's sitting there for too long. So yeah. So battery life is great. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time there because it's great. It's a 7,000 milliamp hour battery, and OriginOS makes great use of that. Especially since the Google services are not running in the background all the time on this device. Like it, I mean, not fully implemented like it would be on a global version. So yeah, that's that. So with this being a gaming phone, I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to activate, I'm going to start up Wuthering Waves and just kind of give you guys a glimpse of that and what that's like. You can crank the performance all the way up on this device and not get any issues. Of course, you get your standard warning when you do increase everything. And goodness gracious, Wuthering Waves. I just fired this thing up early this morning to make sure all of the updates and stuff like that were out of the way. Okay, just trying to make sure that it starts up with no issues while we're on camera. So I'm gonna pick my character and it should take me in. And I just want to jump into settings real quick and just kind of show you what that looks like, and just kind of show you guys. I just like to show proof that I am actually not just playing the game, but actually having everything cranked up, since this is supposed to have its own on chip for gaming. So let me go ahead and go into settings real quick, and you'll see device performance is overloaded. Yeah, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Let me go ahead and pop this into the backbone, and hopefully it'll let me activate without having to restart the phone. I mean the game, because Wuthering Waves takes forever. It's not gonna let me do it, is it? That sucks. There we go. Yep, it will. It will. Okay, cool. So let me go back into settings real quick. So you see I have graphics on custom. I think I changed one thing that made it change that menu to custom, but you see I got everything on high, ultra high, blah, blah, blah. Frame rate 60 frames per second, so on and so forth. So, I mean, everything's cranked up on here. And I even have the monster mode enabled. I think I saw it go over here. Yep, monster mode is enabled, which is supposed to increase the performance. So let's go into this boss door and let's see if he just beats me to death, or she beats me to death. Let's go level 70 so I'm not here all day while I'm trying to show you guys that I actually do game on here with no issues. So let's go ahead, loading in. Let's go ahead and charge in. Pop, 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 pop. Let's try to get as much damage as we can. It's weird trying to play overhead. Oh, good dodge, good dodge. Okay, good dodge right there. Oh, she does so much damage. You can see my characters are kind of low because I fought her a few times and she just always gives me trouble. Let me see if I can get her in here to heal us up a little bit. Ooh, good dodge. Yeah, let's get out of it. And it's just the first phase of her, which is crazy. Let's get as much damage as we can. And watch this just be the first phase. Ridiculous. Yep, let's get her out of that. Nope, she didn't come out of it. Get a lot. Yeah, let's get that stagger bar down. All right. And you can notice that all the particles are showing up on the screen. I'm not seeing any stutter. So, I mean, this phone, I mean, if that's what they're going for, they're holding up really well to that. Try to get my characters back up to health. There we go. All right. So, yep, just wanted to show you guys that. And as far as warmth goes, to be honest, I normally don't pay attention to it because I'm playing on the backbone because it's not in my hands. But the phone doesn't really get warm. It gets warm after a while because you're gaming, but nothing to where it causes performance degradation or anything like that. So just good stuff. I mean, kudos to IQOO. They've handled business with this device. and kept in a good price range. Now that Ultra for the IQ 15 Ultra, not the same story. That price gets ridiculous. It's over $1,000 easily. So, yep, just want to show you guys that. Let's take it back out of the backbone. Put that back over there and put the device back down. Let's get out of this game. Let's come back out of here. Now let's just exit all together. All right. So with this being a gaming device, let's say, hey, the cameras can't be that good, right? Actually, it don't show. I'm always mixing up the phone. So, but you do get 50 megapixels all around on here. No complaints really on this. I mean, it has the vivo color processing in here. So I do enjoy the photos that come out of it. Actually, let's go into camera real quick. And I snap pictures all the time. I even use the macro camera, the macro lens on here, and it does a really good job. Has a lot of clarity. And this was it was kind of like late in the afternoon, and the kitchen we had the kitchen lights on, and it still did a really good job here. So, I mean, it holds up really well, and I'll show a few photos on there in just a moment, but the cameras are fairly consistent. If you use Vivo, you've used IQOO, you know how this interface looks. It's pretty much similar across the board. You get all of your different menus here, and you get a ton of them. My goodness, let me come out of there. And stuff pops up all the time on new features. They add new features all the time to the camera, or new watermarks and just different little things. So they add stuff all the time for you using here. And it's just, I mean, it's just packed. If you want to, if you guys want me to spend more time with the camera and the features that are available, drop a comment down below and I'll make a full video just going through the camera, just spending time there. But anyway, we'll talk, I'll show you a few photos and things like that, and then we'll come back and wrap this review up. All right. All right, so now that that's out of the way and you've been able to see the photos that come out here, it's great at gaming. The battery life is good. It's a great all-around device for under $1,000. Like I said, I think I got it close to 800, but it's time. The 15 Ultra is out now, so I think the price should have dropped a little bit on this. But anyway, worth buying. The only thing I didn't really mention was the atmosphere lighting that comes on this device, and it's because it's kind of forgettable. I don't lay my phone face down a lot, so I really don't see the lighting on here a lot. So I really don't notice it. I actually have to make myself think about it sometimes, and yeah. So in my eyes, kind of gimmicky, but whatever, to each their own. But overall, well-rounded cameras, great battery life. Software, OriginOS, kind of strict, but good software. It remains smooth, no hiccups, no odd little bugs or anything like that. Plus, you can configure it to work how you want it to work. You know, if you want to use the videos that I've made in the past, you know, maybe. But yeah, just a great phone. Good job, IQOO. Worth the purchase. All right. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.